Okay, y'all, I'm so excited for this video. Announcement Converters has finally launched their nudes line that we've been waiting for, and we stationers really had a say in what colors we were most excited for, we felt were missing in the market, and they have created custom papers just for us. I'm so excited, and you know it's going to be in all of the Announcement Converters goodness, so I'm going to get to kind of the specs at the end, but I know that you just want to see the papers. So I'm just going to jump in, and if you are watching this video, the papers are officially live on their site, and you can also purchase a sample pack if you want to see them, but I'm going to do a bunch of comparison and contrast, talk to you about how they print, and give you some ideas for how to use these papers today. Okay, so first look at the four papers from top to bottom. We've got Cashmere, Spice, Terracotta, and Rose Nude. These are little 4-bar square flap envelopes, and I will show you them one by one. Okay, I want to start with the Terracotta because this is a color that we've all been waiting for. This is the one I was most excited about, actually, and I think they've done a really good job. I'm a plant person, so you can trust me. It is very true to a terracotta pot. I didn't bring a terracotta pot in here to compare it to, but it's very true to that. I think it's showing up a little bit lighter on screen than it feels to me in real life. So let's compare it to some things that we've used in the past. The most common that I think a lot of people have used is the dark orange from Basis. That's this color, and this color I believe is actually discontinued. So one, we can't use it anymore, and it's a lot darker and more orange. So this is a little bit dustier. It's definitely got kind of a more natural tone. It's also a little bit lighter, and I think it will be a good alternative now that this one is discontinued. The other one that we've been using a lot is Color Plan Rust, and that's what this one is. The biggest complaint I hear with this one is this just like bright orange. It just looks orange. It's looking very orange on screen. It's not quite that orange in real life, but it's very orange. So when you compare it here, I think they've done a really good job of making it not feel orange, making it feel natural, really true to a terracotta color, and I think it's going to be really nice. Another thing is that when you print black ink on this, it feels very Halloween-y. You can get away with black ink on this one without feeling Halloween-y, which I'll show you in a second. So I think this is really nice. Something I was a little surprised by is it's very close to the hue of copper. I think these two go really nicely together. So if you like copper, but you're not so into the metallic finish, then I think you'll like this one a lot as a good alternative there. So I think this is really pretty. It's going to look good with just so many things, and I think it's going to provide a natural alternative to that kind of dusty clay color. Okay, how does Terracotta Nude print? Okay, I cut a piece of this one off recently. This is the black. Let's get it focused. There you go. I think this printed beautifully. Again, it's important to me that this does not feel Halloween-y at all. Whereas you can imagine the black on this one feels really Halloween-y. So beautiful. Would definitely recommend black ink. White ink. I think it's gonna look good on camera. And I think it will work for escort cards, menus, cards inside the invitation. This is the only one of the ones I'm showing you today that I personally wouldn't do on an envelope. If you could outsource the white printing, maybe white calligraphy ink would be a little bit more contrast, but with the way the post office has been lately, I play pretty fast and loose with the post office, and I still wouldn't recommend this one in person. This is printed with my Ghost ink toner, so it's not printed with like an OKI machine. If you were able to outsource it, you might get a little more contrast, but I would still steer clear of this. I would go with black and or I think like a really dark warm gray or brown would look really good on this, which I think browns are kind of coming back in and more natural colors. So definitely go with darker colors here. All right, our second one is Rose Nude, and I know what you want me to compare this to. I'm going to get there. Trust me, I'm gonna get there. But I'm gonna start in a different direction. So these are the Kia color. We've got Rosebud and Old Rose here. And what I think is the best description of this paper, if you can't see it, is that it fits right between these two papers. So from a hue standpoint, tonally, this is like a perfect ombre. So if you have these two colors, just imagine that this is basically a mid-grade between them. It's a little bit purple, it's a little bit gray, it's got basically all the same tones, and this would be a perfect ombre. If you want a monochrome suite or an ombre escort card, call me because this is so pretty. I want to do it. Definitely love it with the Kia color. I know you want me to compare it to Dusty Rose. I have it. Oh, there it is. I have so many samples here. Okay, this is the Rose Nude compared to the Dusty Rose. So it is darker. It is a little bit more purple. It is a little bit more gray as well. I think it's still a really good alternative option to the Dusty Rose, especially when we have stock issues with this one. Also, this one can feel a little bit bubblegummy depending on what you put it with, or a little too feminine. So I think this will be a good, really dusty option with a little bit more of that purple in it. This is Cypria. So, you know, I do like the Cypria Dusty Rose, Rose Nude, Ombre as well, but I do think that just tonally the Kia colors are closer to the undertones of this Rose Nude. Okay, how did the Rose Nude print? Black. Beautiful. Would definitely do this 100 times. Probably fine with the post office. Love it. White. I love this. I would do this with the post office. I do white with Dusty Rose all the time, like in this table number, and I do that in the mail too, and this is a little bit darker than Dusty Rose. So if you're comfortable with white on Dusty Rose, then you'll be comfortable with the white on the Rose Nude as well. Okay, this one, it's my favorite. It's called Spice Nude, and this one is super interesting because when you look at it, you're kind of like, it's brown, it's neutral, but then the more you look at it, you really get a lot from it. She really is giving, to sound like a TikToker, I don't know. She's really giving a lot of things. So when you hold up kind of the pinks to her, she gets a little bit more pink. I think when you hold up the terracotta, she gets a little bit more warm and orange. It's just a really interesting color, and I didn't expect this one to be my favorite, and it definitely is. So I'm really excited to use this. I even think I'll use it as a substitute for like Dusty Rose, because I think sometimes people don't want to be as pink with that and they want to take it in a more natural direction. I think this is really going to be the answer to that. It's unique. There's really nothing I can compare it to except for, there's really nothing you've seen before that I can compare it to except for this Dusty Rose, but it's definitely like more brown. If I put it against the wall, it's going to appear different. If I put it against the yellow, it's going to appear different. It's kind of like similar to my skin tone. Maybe that's why it's my favorite, but it's giving a lot of very, very natural tones. So like that, all the undertones that you would have in your skin, I think are showing up in this Spice Nude. And so I think it's really cool. Let's see how it printed. Okay, black on Spice Nude. Lovely. It almost looks like craft paper here in this lighting, but it's just so much more. It's gonna be like an advanced craft paper. So if you have people who want craft paper, but you wanna up the ante a little bit, give them something a little bit more elegant, Spice Nude's gonna be your girl. And then with the white, I think she appears to have not very much contrast on screen. In real life, I would do it. I think some of you might not, but I play pretty aggressively with the post office. So I would do it, maybe not right now, but when the post office is more staffed and doing a little bit better, I would do this. Also, I think it would be fine for like an insert card, something inside the envelope, or like a menu or something. I think it'd be perfectly legible. It's just a question of whether the machines are gonna have enough contrast. So maybe on this one, I would say definitely not for me on the terracotta, maybe on this one, but totally fine on the others that I've showed you. Okay, and here's the last one. This is called Cashmere Nude, which, you know, makes you just want to cuddle up in it. This one is so unique because I even had a hard time like finding things to compare it to. I think if you're really interested in those like natural neutral tones, but you're tired of using like warm gray and mist and things like that, this is going to be a really, really nice alternative. I barely could find anything to compare it to, so let's try. This is the Nubuck Brown swatch, which like this I think is even potentially discontinued. Does anyone use this? And it's pretty close, although darker and more brown. So you're definitely getting a lighter feel here than you are with this, but they're kind of same tonally if you have that. Also, if you have Artist Air swatches. These are not the most recent ones, so I hope this color is still available, but if you have their Cafe swatch, it's very, very close. Let me try and get that on there. It's also a little bit darker, but very close to the right hue. So that'll give you a good example of what this is. It's gray, it's brown, it's almost a little bit purple. Let's see if I throw, you can't really see it, but it's a little bit. I think it will look beautiful with a lot of these colors. I think it will look beautiful if you put it with like your mists and your warm grays. I think it's going to be just such a versatile color. Like this combo, beautiful. Honestly, this sweet, like this whole vibe is so good with just all these colors. Here's the terracotta, here's the spice. It's just so good all together. You can really tell that these papers fit together and have a cohesive feel. And I know that like nude makeup, nude clothing, all those things were really part of the design process of these papers. So I like that you can tell that they all really go together. So how does the cashmere print? Here's our black. Lovely, beautiful. I think this is just, it's neutral with oomph, you know? Not craft paper style necessarily, but if someone want something that is interesting and yet doesn't really detract from colors and things in the suite and plays really well off them, I think this is gonna be good. And then the white ink, let's see in real life. Would I do it? I would do it. I think I would do it. I'm gonna show you all of the white inks together because I know that's important. It's gonna be hard to do. But I know that's important to y'all. Here we go. So definitely the Rose Nude is my favorite with the white ink. But the others are still pretty good. I would do all of them for like a card, something that's legible in person. I wouldn't necessarily do the terracotta nude or the spice nude with the post office. I do think the cashmere would be fine in the post office. It feels a little bit more contrasting than the other two in real life. You might want to add a stroke to this font Mozart, but I think it would be okay. That's my professional opinion, but I also don't work for the post office, so make your own decisions. If you want to play it safe, they all look really good with black, would look great with like charcoal, warm grays, and kind of brown undertone. I think would just really pop on these papers. And then the Rose Nude, I think would be fine. White, black, whatever you want to do on it. Treat it very similarly to how you would treat Dusty Rose. Okay, so just a reminder of all four colors: cashmere, spice, terracotta, and Rose Nude. And now let's talk about the papers and what's available. I cannot show you paper finishes on this camera very well, but I'm going to tell you that they are very, very, very similar to color plan papers. So if you're comfortable with color plan, they're going to handle very similarly to that. They have a vellum finish. And if you have the issue of like using the ghost toner and color plan might rub off, then you'll probably have that issue with these papers. But otherwise, besides the ghost toner, you'll probably be fine with these in an inkjet or laser jet. And so for white ink, if you do have that issue with ghost toner, you might just want to outsource your white ink printing. These papers are all going to be available in 3 weights. 100-pound text weight, you know, pretty hardy text weight, same as other general color plan papers. Belly bands, envelope liners, wraps, you know it. 100-pound cover, which is what I use in my HP printer because it's about the thickest it can handle. This would be fine as a standalone card, although maybe not for an invitation, but for a details card or RSVP. And then 130-pound cover, I would use this for standalone cards or anything that you needed to be extra thick, although you might need to outsource printing if you're trying to print that in-house or print on like an inkjet that feeds straight because it's going to be better with thicker papers. Okay, and it will be available if it's not already. We're not guaranteed that everything's going to go live on the same day, but straight flap and Euro flap envelopes, as well as sheets up to 25 by 38, I think is that measurement. And they'll have them in all the kind of standard sizes, A7, A9, A7.5, etc. They do have a waterfall swatch book that you can order where you'll get a sample in real life of all of these papers. I think it's like $4. And all of that is going to be available as of the time of you're watching the video. If you don't see a certain product, you might want to just email them. They might be still working on getting that one live. But the plan is to execute all of those standard products in all 4 of these colors right around the same. So I'm just going to hold these up to remind you of them and the names. I think these are going to become staples in the wedding industry. They are so on trend with all the natural tones that are going on, and I'm really, really excited about all 4 of these. They also are hoping to expand the line later this year, so if you want to submit any feedback, feel free to get on Announcement Converters waitlist. Let me know which one is your favorite in the comments and which ones you're so excited to use in your projects. I can't wait to see what we all start to create with these beautiful nude papers from Announcement Converters. Thanks everyone. Check out some other stationery videos while you're here, and I hope you'll let me know if you have any questions in the comments.